Well, hello, everybody. Welcome to Mondays with Mark. And you like your new glasses?
Oh, thank you.
Everybody always comments on Colleen's glasses. Listen, if you're watching on YouTube, hit subscribe, ring the bell. If you're watching on Facebook, share right now so people can join this, especially if you know anybody who is going through the loss of a child. Our guest today, Jeff Bumgardner, who I interviewed earlier today. Thank goodness I did, because we had Skype problems again.
Oh, no.
Yeah. You know all about that.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Oh, look at all the people coming in over here. Mary Warner, Melinda Ames, Paula Shepard, Karen Calabrese, Chris Ladd, Ross Dyer. Hello, everybody. Are you ticklish? Josephine Medina wants to know, are you ticklish?
Well, let's try.
No. Yes, I'm ticklish, to answer your question. I love this, y'all. I'm able to see all of your comments on YouTube. Andrew Dunn, he's over there on YouTube, and Sarah Marshall Gregory. And so share. That's the way we get the word out, especially if you know someone today who's lost a child. I'm telling you, this story is amazing. It's only been 3 years. You'll hear the story. Jeff is a great guy. Also, if you're watching on Twitter, follow us. How was your Mother's Day?
Good. It was really good, yeah.
I have my comments up here where I can see them.
I woke up yesterday morning, went in the kitchen, and there on the counter, on the island in the kitchen was a...
was it this right here? Tell them about from your two boys.
From my sons, Taylor and Tyler.
Subway cookies.
Happy Mother's Day. Love Tyler and Taylor. They created the box, and it was a dozen cookies, assorted cookies.
Look at the drawing from 29-year-olds. I love them.
They're so fun. They're so sweet.
But that's not all they did for you.
Oh, no. Then we went to one of my favorite restaurants.
Your favorite?
Yeah, it is. Pretty well. You know, it wasn't the greatest yesterday as far as my steak, but the salad bar.
Taste. Tell them what it is.
It's the Taste of Texas.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
the salad bar is why you go.
Oh, it is. It's definitely.
It is the salad bar of all salad bars. In fact, that may be the restaurant we need to go to when we choose the winner of the drawing. I'm going to be telling you about in just a minute. But that would be a good restaurant to go to, Taste of Texas. And your boys paid for it?
Absolutely. One of them didn't get to go. He wasn't feeling well, so...
Oh, so he got out.
I went with he actually paid. He's
Which
the one
one?
That Taylor wasn't feeling well. Oh. But I went...
The one we like?
We love them both.
Oh, yeah, that's right. We do.
Silly. Oh, but my sister and her son and Tyler, and we went, and it was so nice. They gave each mother a rose, and... Oh. Yeah, it was very nice.
And
very
what
nice
about
day.
Teacher's Week?
Oh, that was good.
Did you bring that card?
I forgot it.
Where is it?
I left it in the kitchen.
Well, go get it. Go get it.
I'll
talk about something else. Listen, she's got a card. You got to hear about this. But also over at marklowry.com, I'm so excited that we found about 100 of these 45s that I made when I was 9 years old. My mom and dad thought when my voice changed, I wouldn't be able to sing anymore. So we went down to the recording studio. Come on back in here, Colleen. We went down to the recording studio and with local Houston musicians. And at the time, Houston wasn't as big and didn't have as many good musicians. But it's 2 songs they let me record. I'm sure I picked them because I loved these 2 songs growing up. But I don't know if I'd let my 9-year-old kid sing Born to Lose and You're Nobody Till Somebody Loves You.
Oh, my. You love those songs?
I did. Well, I did I liked Louis Armstrong. I loved those kind of singers, Frank Sinatra, Nat King Cole, all those guys. And so if you want to order that, go to marklowry.com. It's $15. There's only about 100, and they'll be gone forever. They were in my father's garage, and they're still in pretty good shape.
Well, that's
And
so
that's
neat.
how many years ago is that? 51 years ago.
Wow.
Oh, Lord. Didn't think I'd ever get this old. Also, I'm really excited. Oh, we got to talk about this.
Okay.
Tell them.
Well, it was Teacher Appreciation Week, and kids bring little
And
little
only
gifts
one brought a
in.
gift?
No, I had a couple other ones.
Yeah.
They don't really do a lot of announcing at the school, but the school does things for the teachers. They have something for us each day. But I got this most precious little gift. He brought me some chocolates, but the card is what made it.
And listen to this. Dear Ms. Kate, I never knew the glory of writing until 4th grade. I have learned a plethora. Plethora. That's a word I never used. Plethora of words from you. Did you teach him plethora?
Mm-hmm. That was one of them.
Happy Teacher's Week from
Thavish.
One of your students. What a
Yeah.
sweet thing to
Wasn't
say.
it
I've learned a
sweet?
plethora. Does that one make good grades?
Absolutely.
Does he?
Yes.
I bet he does. I bet even if he didn't, he would.
He's
Because you like him best.
well, no, he's a great student.
Come on, you like him best.
Well, he's a good student. He's one of those students, and I always write a little thank you note if they bring me just a little something.
Yeah.
I always write him a thank you note, and I said back to him, I said, you're the kind of student that makes teaching exciting and enjoyable.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's nice. Yeah. So you like him. And which ones don't you like?
You're silly.
I just love to ask her questions. She
He
can't
does.
answer. Not on the air. Okay, coming up, I want to tell you, before we get to Jeff Bumgardner, I want to tell you about this contest we're having. Not a contest, but it's a drawing. There's no contest, forgive me. This is live, and I've just messed up. But you'll hear this, and don't go anywhere and listen. There's a contest at the end, and you may get to come to Houston, go out to dinner with me and Colleen and Andrew Greer from Dinner Conversations, and we may go to Taste of Texas. It's all expenses paid, your flight, your hotel. We fly you to Houston, we go eat, and then we're coming back here for Mondays with Mark. So it goes something like this. Oh, before I was editing the video today, and I noticed I said 22 times really weird. When I was reading the teleprompter for when they were making this commercial for Food for the Hungry, I was and listen to the way I say 22 times, and I'm going to let you hear it before I play the commercial. Here we go. And get this, your gift will be matched 22 times, 22 times, 22 times, 22 times, 22 times, 22, 22, 22, 22, 22.
That's funny.
22, but it is 22. The T, how do you say it?
22.
22? Okay. Well, anyway, I hope that you are the name we draw, and we bring you here. Listen to the commercial. You can help save thousands of lives by giving a generous gift to Food for the Hungry today.
Your gift will directly help Rohingya refugees who are currently living in dire, poverty-stricken refugee camp conditions in Bangladesh.
And get this, your gift will be matched 22 times for an exponential impact. Food for the Hungry is on the ground now, providing medical treatment to hundreds of thousands of these vulnerable children and their families.
This is the example that has been set for us by Jesus, that we would help our neighbors in their time of need. And this is what Food for the Hungry is doing to help relieve the refugee crisis in Bangladesh. So you can give today, partner with Dinner Conversations as we partner with Food for the Hungry.
Yes.
By giving generously at fh.org/dinner.
And don't forget, not only will your gift be matched 22 times, but for every dollar you donate, we will enter you into a drawing for our Season 2 Grand Prize Giveaway. And
what is the giveaway?
It's dinner with me and Andrew in Houston, Texas at my favorite restaurant.
And right after dinner, we're coming back to Mark's house to be a guest on Mondays with Mark live broadcast.
And your travel and accommodations are included. We also have a VIP package for everyone who gives $1,000 or more.
which includes some signed CDs, DVDs, and books from Mark and me, and also a stack of books and music from some of our Season 2 guests, including Kathy Lee Gifford, Danny Goki, Amy Grant, and the most special part is a handwritten...
Oh yes! I'm gonna write your favorite line, whatever it is, from Mary Did You Know, and you'll get that one, like when she kissed her little baby, she kissed the face of God. That's probably my favorite. And then I'll autograph that and send that to you, and you can keep that, and then when I'm dead, it'll be worth $2 or $3.
So remember to give now, give generously at fh.org/dinner. Every dollar is an entry into our Season 2 Grand Prize giveaway.
And that Season 2 Grand Prize giveaway is going to be in July, the end of July.
Oh, that's good.
Won't that be fun?
Yeah, that sounds
and
great.
And we'll get to meet one of you, whose name we pick out. Won't that be fun? Because I see so many of your names. Like, hey, Tammy Brimlin, is that right? Paula Shepard. Oh, my goodness. I always love listening to you. And that's from Robin Needham Stooksbury. Good night. I thank you all for tuning in. Can you believe all these people tune in for us? I'm so glad you do. Mm-hmm. This is a new kind of tea.
Oh, yeah?
It's that Bingle.
Oh, I love that.
Bingle, but I didn't put enough tea bags in it. It's kind of weak.
See?
But boy, it's Bingle by Celestial Teas. You ought to try it. It's incredible.
I love that tea.
Next week, our guests are going to be Mark and Lowry Carruthers and Brett Jones. Won't that be fun?
That will be
We're going to
fun.
do a lot of singing. You see that piano over there? See that? And that sound system is out of view, but it will be rocking next Monday night. And I can't wait. I love those people. I haven't really got to know Mark and Lowry Carruthers, but they have a FaceTime. What is this called? Facebook. Mm-hmm. Facebook show, too. And where they sit and sing all the songs they've written. They used to be with the Lanny Wolf Trio.
Yeah.
She did.
Yeah, she did.
She did. Do you know them?
Yeah, I know.
You do?
Yes, I know them.
Because they're former UPC also.
Yeah.
See, all those United Pentecostals, they all know each other. She grew up in the United Pentecostal Church, and Mark and Lowry Carruthers, Brett Jones, it's like they're inbred. They're all related. You know, they all married inside the denomination for many, many years,
Yeah, they
right?
did, yeah.
And so you were all related to somebody in that group,
That's
which
true.
is kind of cool. Kind of. Who's calling me?
It's me.
Well, anyway. Okay, so we're going to get to, I got it right here, fh.org. There it is, .org/dinner right there on the screen, y'all. If you will make $1 donation or $1,000 donation. For every $1 you give, though, I think, for every $1 your name is put in. I think. How that works.
I didn't really understand that. I mean,
You didn't?
I guess I didn't understand.
Well, you don't listen real well, do you?
What? I try.
I know you do. No, I think what they said is that for every $1 you get one chance. All right, and then if you give 1,000, you get the VIP package. And 1,000 chances.
Oh,
I guess.
Oh, that's.
We'll clear that up next week.
Yeah,
Andrew, if you're watching, clear that up. See, but ain't it gonna be fun? I love doing this. Okay. Hey, Mark and Colleen, Teresa Hubbard, Terry Holland, Kathy Tolbert, Nancy Gilbert. I am an electronic wheelchair, so I'd have to take a train. I'm in an electronic wheelchair. Oh, well, maybe we can. Does a train? We got trains, don't we?
I think so. Yeah.
You ever
I don't know. I have never been.
You've never taken a train? I'd
Never
love
been on
to
a
take
train.
a train.
I would too.
I took them in Europe.
Yeah. Well, I've been on that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you have to go, I think, on the West Coast. I think you can do it, though, from Houston to
New Orleans.
New
I think
Orleans.
you can
Right,
do that.
right. Well, listen, Jeff Bumgardner is going to be up right now, and you're going to appreciate this story. I don't want to say love because it's a horrible, horrible, horrible tragedy. But, it's amazing what God can do out of horrible tragedies. And this is one example. My guest today is Jeff Bumgardner, and I probably just said that before I started playing this recording. This is Monday. I'm doing this during the day because this is our second attempt because of Skype issues, or it could be our lag in our computers. Who knows? We want to blame Skype. My guest, Jeff Bumgardner. How are you today, buddy?
Hey, Mark, I'm doing really well. How are you?
I'm doing great. I met you first, when you were 13 years old?
I was. That was back when I was cute and innocent.
And where was that?
That was at a Georgia Baptist summer camp called Super Wow.
Okay, yeah, I remember that. I remember loving doing those. And so now tell me the journey between 13, when I guess did you meet the Lord at Super Wow, or where did you meet God?
I did. I actually did. I got saved at Super Wow when I was 13 years old.
Wow, that's great. I got saved at camp when I was 14 years old. So tell me the journey between here at Super Wow. Did you always want to be a songwriter? Is that how that happened?
I've always had a passion for music. I've always had a love of writing. It started off with really poetry and short stories. I was one of those weird kids that liked to sit around in his room and write short stories and poems and things. But I had a passion for music as well. And as I grew a little older, those two things kind of merged into one, and I started writing songs. And I've served different churches all over the country, and through those opportunities, I've just written songs for the churches where I was. I wasn't really pursuing songwriting as a career. I didn't really know anybody to help me make that happen in the industry or anything. So it wasn't really a vision I had. My vision was just to write for the local church and to write where God had me. And eventually those songs started to seep out of the church. You know how the crazy things God can do sometimes.
Oh, yeah.
And so some of those songs reached the ears of some publishers, and eventually I was signed to an exclusive deal with Sunset Gallery Music, which is a label that Wayne Hahn and Joel Lindsay own, and signed with them. I guess it's been about 8 years ago now, and from there, just music's kind of gone all around the world.
So you got married somewhere on that journey.
I did.
And her name is?
Her name is Jody.
Jody, and you had children.
I have 4 kids.
Four kids. You are a minister of music, aren't you?
I know, right?
And so what church are you with right now?
I am with First Baptist Church in North Augusta, and that's in South Carolina, just across the Savannah River from Augusta, Georgia.
Okay. Now, the story you told me, wait, before we get into that, I want you to tell some of the songs and artists related to those songs that people will recognize.
Yeah, I've written songs for a lot of different artists, specifically in Southern gospel music, Taranda Green being one of those. Her current record, she has 3 of mine on there. One of them is Mercy Has Changed Me, which is one of my favorite songs I get that I hear her sing.
Me too.
Yeah. And I've written for Collinsworth Family, several things for them. How Great Is Love for Me is probably one of my favorites that they do. Even Me is a song that Triumphant Quartet currently has on the radio, and it's doing really well. Riley Harrison Clark, I've written 2 or 3 songs on his new record. In fact,
what did you write on that record? I love that record.
I wrote Glory to Glory, which is his current radio single, and I wrote the title track, Welcome to Me.
I love that one. That song is a masterpiece, in my opinion.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. And then he and I wrote a song on there with Joel Lindsay called I Surrender. That's on that record, too. And I've written for the Perrys and just a ton of different groups and artists in Southern gospel music.
Well, when I was at the Dove Awards, was it last year? I guess it was.
It was, in October.
And I was sitting in the pre-award show, and you were walking by, and you stopped and told me a story about something that had just happened in your life a couple of years earlier at that time. And I want you to share that with my family here at Mondays with Mark, if you would.
I would love to. Yeah, our family in October 2016 went through experienced one of the greatest tragedies that I could ever have imagined, and it's been kind of a tragedy of sorts since then, as well as along the way we've seen some triumphs that God's done. What happened in October 2016 is I was in choir rehearsal. I got a call from the door from someone who said, they just simply said, "It's Ella," and I knew something was wrong. And so Ella was my third child in that list of four, a 10-year-old daughter. And a very healthy child, nothing that we ever knew was wrong. And I ran out and found her collapsed in the floor of our welcome center there at church on a Wednesday night. And she couldn't track with me. I was calling her name and she wasn't responding. And so I started saying, "Ella, are you hurting?" And she would try to point to where she was hurting, but she couldn't speak. And so I just said, "Can you hear me?" She gave me a thumbs up. So I just started telling her how much I loved her, and she gave me a thumbs up. And unfortunately, that was the last communication we had from Ella. We got her to the hospital. By the time she got to the hospital, she was unable to breathe on her own, and they rushed her into surgery. And in surgery found out she had a catastrophic brain bleed. It was later discovered that she had experienced an AVM rupture. And Mark, honestly, I'd never heard of an AVM. I had no idea what that was when they were trying to tell me this. But what it is it's an arteriovenous malformation, and it's basically a ball, if you will, just an entanglement of veins and arteries in the brain, and hers was located near the brainstem. And so with that pressure from the arteries banging away for 10 years on those veins, it caused what we know as some weaknesses in the veins. And so she actually experienced a rupture there, and that bleed just spread throughout her brain. So that's why she was starting to lose facilities like her sight at first, and then her inability to speak, and then eventually her inability to breathe. And my wife and I were on our faces in her hospital room just begging God for a miracle. And as we began to process what was happening, we knew she had one more test where they were going to test for brain activity. And if she failed that test, they would pronounce her deceased. And so we just started talking about what does this mean? What are our options? What is this really our reality? And so we started walking the hall of that hospital, just kind of talking through what are we going to do. And we saw so many other families that were in very similar situations to us. They were just crying out to God for a miracle. And we realized in that God showed us, and we really believe that he showed us this, that we may not be getting the miracle that we were praying for, but that Ella could be a miracle to so many other families. And so we chose for her to be an organ donor. And through that, we've seen so many other lives saved and changed. And some of the exciting things, Mark, that we have gotten to see through that, not only the opportunity God has given us to tell our story, like even today, but the opportunity to meet some of the organ recipients. And one is a guy named Joshua. He's a singer-songwriter in New Orleans, Louisiana, which is really cool to see. Just how God works things like that. He says, "I'm going to give you another musician," and then a girl in Miami, Florida. Her name's Stephanie, and she received Ella's heart and lungs. And we've gotten to meet them and hear their stories, and it's just God truly has done a miracle. I think sometimes we pray for a miracle, and when it doesn't work out the way we had hoped it would, all of a sudden we didn't get our miracle. But to see God had so many more miracles than even the one we were praying for, and we've seen him show off in many ways.
Tell me the process of, because I've not been through this, and will never be through this because I have no children. So tell me the process of that grieving that y'all went through.
Yeah, I remember the first day I woke up at home, that first morning after we had left the hospital, and it all felt like a dream. It didn't seem real, and I ran to her room hoping to find her there. There have been other mornings like that too. We've watched her younger sister, who was 6 years old at the time, not want to go in her room, want to sleep with her older sister, and just trying to see I think the hardest part for us has been trying to walk our kids through this loss at their ages, and trying to care for them as well as ourselves. But the process itself is one that we have to make a choice every day. Every day is a new choice to get up and to go on and to move and do the things that God's set before us. And honestly, we could choose every day to dwell in what we've lost, or we can choose to celebrate the gift that we had. We got a front row seat to Ella for 10 years. I mean, that's pretty amazing. Yeah. And so we choose to celebrate the gift that Ella was and continues to be for us. And Mark, honestly, that's made all the difference for us. It sounds it's a lot easier said than done. It is a process, and it's not something that can be expected.
Well, it's not like you had a choice.
Yeah, well, the choice is either to be defeated or be victorious.
Right. I mean, you had no choice of whether she lived or died either. That was,
right.
up to God. And once you go into something where there's no getting out of it, she's not going to get up from the grave until the Lord returns.
Right.
And you must then make those horrible choices, that you had to make. What would you tell someone? Before we talk about the song that came from this whole experience, what would you tell someone who's going through this right now? You're already 3 years into it. Is there any fig leaf you can throw in their direction to give them hope that there is hope?
Yeah, and there is hope. So rest assured of that. God promises us that, and we've walked in it. What we tell people more often than anything else is that don't put a timetable on yourself. Don't expect there's some magical number of days or weeks or months that all of a sudden you're supposed to be better. There's a part of me that died in October of 2016, and so I'll be forever changed. I'll never be the person I was before that day, and that's okay. So allow yourself that room to grieve. Allow yourself to walk through the process. Allow other people to speak into that for you as well. And I think we come across people, Mark, all the time who aren't getting professional help because there's some shame to that. There's some stigma to that. And we encourage people, get counseling. Allow someone who's a professional who walks with people through these situations to pour into you, to pour into your life, whether that be a pastor or a counselor of some sort, who can kind of hold your hand and walk you through this process. That makes all the difference in the world. And when you're at your lowest, you have someone that you can go to and depend on as well.
Right. Well, you said that you are different now than you were before. How are you different?
I'm no longer the dad who takes for granted that his kids are always going to be here. I'm no longer the pastor on staff who tells people of God's comfort and His ability to reach into our darkest situations and to comfort us in those moments. Who hasn't experienced? I've experienced it now, and I continue to experience on a daily basis. I'm able to speak from that place now. We're a family now who has a lot more compassion for others who are walking similar roads, and now we have a story to tell that brings God glory, and that keeps the name of our little girl alive moving forward.
The song that you told me about at the Doves, that Dove Awards, tell me about that song.
Well, one of the hardest things about losing a child is that it never gets any easier. It's never, you don't wake up, like you mentioned a moment ago, you don't wake up on week 2 and all of a sudden she's back. I mean, it's every day, it never ends. And so we have dinner as a family around our table, and there's an empty chair that's there now. And so the song's called Empty Chair. And we just, in telling our story, we don't want to tell people something that's dressed in all the pretty, right, that makes everybody feel good. We're trying to be real and honest about our story, and the song Empty Chair is that. There's a lyric in there in verse 2. Even though we grieve as we don't grieve as the world grieves, but we grieve as those who have hope. We still grieve. And so verse 2 says, this world is pretty cold since the day God called you home, and we had our final hug and last goodbye. But the hope is, but I know that you're there waiting. for another celebration, the day that we all finally arrive. So there is grief, there is pain, but there's hope. And we hope that people, when they hear the song Empty Chair, that they don't just hear our story, but that they hear their own story, because all of us have experienced grief and loss to some level.
Jeff, thank you so much for being on Mondays with Mark. And I'm going to put all the information where you can hear the song Empty Chair. You can download it on iTunes, or you can listen to it on YouTube, and also Jeff's website. Thank you so much, Jeff.
Hey, thanks.
Oh, man, he said, hey, oh, that story.
What a touching story,
Yeah.
I tell you.
You know, when I lost, and this is going to sound strange, but when the closest I have come to that, losing my mother was not anywhere near that.
Oh.
You expect that.
Right.
I mean, they get old, they die. I'm going to do the same, you know, and she lived a good, long life. I was hurt, but I expected that. But this unexpected 11-year-old, I call it taking a bite out of the apple of pain. And what I did when I lost my dog to that pit bull next door, it was like licking the apple. You know, I just tasted the apple. But when you lose a child, man, you take a big bite. And I'm telling you, I don't understand that. I don't want to ever know that. And I won't.
No.
You know, and you won't either, Lord willing. God is good, y'all. Even in the tough times, you just got to throw your head back and say, God, you are good, and you have always been good. That's what I have to do.
Yep.
Hey, Dinner Conversations has got a new episode. If you're not binge watching them on Amazon Prime, which you can do. Have you done that yet?
I can't get on Amazon Prime.
She's not on Facebook.
I tried. But
She's not on YouTube. And hello to the Twitter audience. I'm sorry I didn't mention you earlier. I've already heard from Low Finney, who said, what about us watching on Twitter? Anyway, what was I talking about? Don't turn 60. Oh my goodness, before I got sidetracked.
Talking about Dinner Conversations.
Oh, Dinner Conversations, yes.
New episode.
You can binge watch them on Amazon Prime, which she doesn't have. And also, if you don't have Amazon Prime, we release them weekly on YouTube. I don't, but someone does. And the latest one is a lady who tells another story of loss, but it's the loss of a marriage. And her name is Crystal Lewis. It is right here.
And my way grows dry, precious Lord, won't you linger near when my life is almost gone? Hear my cry, hear my call, take my hand lest I fall. Here's my hand, precious star, lead me home.
I was married for 28 years. For other people to see that that was being pulled apart came as a complete shock, because I did a really good job of pretending like everything was great.
Yeah.
And every single person's experience is so completely different.
Unique.
I'm grateful for a year and a half of therapy is to help me get to the place of looking at it like that. Like, you don't have to hate something to move on from it. Because I really feel like I kind of had come to the conclusion that God loved me more than he loved the idea of marriage. Not that he doesn't love the
that's a
idea of
big
marriage.
statement.
God, I don't think that God was so desperate that we stay together that he was like, well, good, all these broken pieces of you will just have to stay. That no, I think it was, I'm more important to him than this concept.
Well, you'll have to watch Dinner Conversations to hear the rest of that conversation. Jaron Davis is watching, And he says, it's a great group. The UPC Friends are friends forever.
They are.
And then he goes on, you're an adopted member, Mark. I love that. I love the UPC. I love all of them because they can cook. They can cook. Well, y'all, I hope you enjoyed today's Mondays with Mark. Did you enjoy it?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah?
It was good.
Well, next week now, it's going to be singing time, and I hope you'll join us. And I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.